Since the alt season is just around the corner and rapidly approaching, I really want to show you some coins that have not yet skyrocketed and that might be either at their absolute lows right now or very close to them. This is so that when you're buying altcoins, you don't put your money into coins like XRP that are already at their highs. And of course, it's clear that during the alt season, it will shoot up even higher, and things that have already skyrocketed usually continue to go up vertically at those times, but it's still pretty scary. How can you sleep peacefully when you've jumped in at the highs? Especially since there are indeed coins right now that are relatively at their lows and could still show that kind of vertical movement even without an alt season. Well, during the alt season, they could give you not just but 20x. Why not? So, I'm being a bit blunt. But basically, they will give you a lot. Moreover, I won't just mention the coin tickers, but I'll also explain how to find your own coin and the principles you should use to evaluate them. Check the description, there will be a link to register on the Bybit exchange. This is the #1 exchange that I personally trade on, and it's the top one in terms of trading volume, liquidity, and it has the lowest fees. Just from this, you'll be saving around a few $100s every month. And why do I recommend registering specifically through my referral link in the description? You'll get a cash bonus for registering ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 depending on the size of your deposit. Most of my subscribers get $100, but if you don't have any deposit at all, you'll at least get $10 credited to your account. If you're a big trader with a good deposit, you can get up to $30,000 credited to your account. But for larger amounts, you'll need to reach a corresponding trading volume. On this page, click right here and you can see what bonus you'll get for registering. The link is below. Enjoy the video. So let's start in order. Let's just go through my watch list. The altcoins that I'm tracking. And I'll show you the tickers along with the principles. For example, AD. As you can see, it's already on a vertical rise, it's already shot up. Well, it's clear, obviously, even to the untrained eye, that it's not worth buying here. So, when you see these vertical spikes where coins shoot up even by 50% in a short period of time, buying here out of fear of missing out, yeah, it's not worth it. Okay, let's move on. Solana isn't worth your attention either. Of course, it's strong. Of course, it hasn't shot up vertically. It's just in a good upward trend. And it's clear that the altcoin season will also grow, and possibly significantly, since it's stronger than the main market. But overall, it's close to its peak. You could say it's at its highs. There are no bottom patterns here, so I don't recommend paying attention to Solana, for example. Let's move on. Litecoin, it looks a bit more interesting now, even though it dropped the same 50% from the bottom. Notice that there was a pattern here, meaning it only dropped 50%, not 250%. It has moved away from the very bottom. It hasn't moved too far from its average levels. And most importantly, there's still a huge pattern here, a huge setup, a reversal one. Here it is, it's called an ascending triangle. It's trading on a breakout of resistance at the moment of that breakout, and the potential is roughly based on this triangle. So if and when the price goes above, let's see the peaks here, above 115, better yet, above 120, the potential for further growth is roughly up to $300 for Litecoin. The only thing is you need to be careful, yeah, really, when there's such a vertical jump, like I said, at least 50%, it dropped 50%, you need to be as cautious as possible. It's better to wait for some kind of consolidation or a correction, maybe even a movement like this. And then when it breaks out, well, let's say after consolidation, breaking above the level, securing it, and a retest. This will be a great entry point. Ideally, it should also align with the indicator from the season that I showed on my channel. If you haven't seen it, take a look. Here are my latest videos. Let's move on. Neo, something similar. Litecoin, but as you can see, the pattern here is not nearly as nice. There's no clear ascending triangle, just a lot of volatility and some spikes like this. Well, plus the coin, although not by much, has still gone up. I wouldn't recommend looking at the same. Yo. Ethereum Classic is very similar to Litecoin too. It's kind of like a bullish bottom, and it's trading absolutely similarly, with an ascending triangle at the base after breaking through resistance. So there's roughly that kind of potential, but the vertical jump is just as significant. You need to be careful, even though there are ascending lows and a nice big pattern, it's not nearly as pretty as with Litecoin. So, if you look at the coins that have skyrocketed, even if they're up 200%, but at least 50% or more, among them is Litecoin. I think it looks the best out of the top ones, but you still need to be careful. I don't recommend Ethereum Classic. Tron is something close to a financial pyramid. It's one of my least favorite coins. I've seen something like this in the market before. It was called Luna, and then it just dropped like this in one day. I don't know if Tron will drop, and if so, when, but if I see similar hints, I'll start actively shorting. In a short period of time, my maximum income in life was actually the moment when I was shorting Luna. It's something like a pyramid that burst. I think it happened in 2022. I could be wrong. We need to look at the chart, but that doesn't really relate to our video. Bitcoin Cash also has a pretty good setup. As you can see, it has been building a bottom for a long time. The very first one left from this bottom, there was some consolidation here. Flat after correction, resistance level, went beyond the level, retested it. Now we are bouncing off it. Well, just an excellent upward trend according to the technical analysis book. We went up, pulled back, consolidated, went up, pulled back, retested, consolidated, and now we're starting to rise. And in the case of an Altseason, this coin is going to skyrocket, especially since it's relatively low right now. You could say it's close to its highs. Yeah, let's just look at it from a different angle. Let's open some old exchange like Poloniex, just a regular chart, and look where it is right now. First of all, it's strong enough to say that there will be demand for this coin. It's not dead. So, some coins are right here, and I'll show you more of them in a bit. And it really might make you think that suddenly no one will want to buy it, or maybe during an Altseason it will just pass by unnoticed, or maybe it's just not needed by anyone. It's clear. Bitcoin Cash is needed in the market. It's strong enough, but at the same time, it hasn't shot up too high. And a little later, I'll show you the chart against Bitcoin. You'll see that Bitcoin Cash looks absolutely great against Bitcoin. If we open the chart of Zcash against Bitcoin, it will also look great. There was also a pattern here indicating that the bottom was formed, and it seems like the coin has moved up. It's strong now, but since it doubled without a pullback, I wouldn't recommend it now. Only if there's a pullback, like with Litecoin, about 20% from the current level, consider it. Zcash looks good too. Another pullback would be ideal. Dash is similar. It broke out vertically. A pullback should be more significant, around 30%. Some consolidation after would make it a good buy. Dash has a similar situation. It formed a bottom and broke out vertically. A pullback should be more than 20%, ideally 30% from the current level. It broke out of the bottom vertically, changing its trend. And if there's some consolidation and a pullback, you could theoretically consider buying. But it broke out of the bottom, even if it was a vertical move, and in that way it changed its trend. There was also a descending wedge here. Well, it's clear that the Altseason isn't just going to go anywhere randomly. Technically, it's looking right here. The Altseason is going to take off. Like this, the potential is good. So let's move on. Monero, the chart looks scary, but let me open another exchange where it's been traded for a while. And, by the way, this coin is probably, from a technical standpoint, of the best. In the entire market, here it is, the resistance level. The coin is pushing up against it with higher lows. Here, of course, there were also higher lows, and then it dropped significantly. But this strong drop happened because of the delisting from Binance, if I'm not mistaken. I think it delisted from Binance right at that moment. And it seemed like that was it for the coin, that nobody wanted it anymore. But no, after the delisting from the largest exchange, they bought it all back on Ethereum. And now it's pushing against its resistance. Why delisting? Why don't people like Monero? Because it's an anonymous coin? The same goes for Zcash, the same for Dash. They're also anonymous coins, but look at how well Zcash is doing. It's not dying, it's not at zero. It's potentially shooting off into space. Dash also came back from the bottom. The potential is astronomical, colossal. Monero, similarly, it's just that it hasn't come back from the bottom yet. So, roughly speaking, this is the bottom. The potential without the Altseason when coming out of the bottom is 300. Right now, the coin is priced at 160. The potential is x2 without Altseason. In Altseason, there could be a few more x's from here. Well, in case the coin is of course interesting to someone. With Monero, there might be significantly less potential during Altseason compared to other coins from the same delisting. Nevertheless, it's clear that it has good potential, and right now, it's probably the best setup in the market overall. By the way, you don't need to go and buy everything right now. No, check out my videos on the channel. I told you how to determine when Altseason starts. So overall, follow me on social media. I'll let you know when I start getting into altcoins. So you don't need to go and throw all your money into something like Monero right now. When you want to make money during the Altseason and catch those big gains, you need to spread your balance, your budget across several coins. Perhaps the ones I'll show in this video, that is, Monero should be 100% on this list. Omis Go against Bitcoin, if you look at the chart, it's just excellent. But there's high volatility here. This is exactly the kind of coin that nobody needs. It's sitting down there close to zero. But technically, during the Altseason, it breaks that trend and goes up somewhere. And yeah, it's just hard to find a good entry point here, unless you're trading spot without leverage, with some averaging. Averaging is a really bad word. I don't like it because many beginners lose money on exchanges because of averaging. But if it's without leverage, if it's on spot, if it's a small part of your balance, theoretically, you could take a look because during the alt season, it doesn't die. By the way, pay attention, it's bouncing from the bottom to current X2, X3, so the coin is quite alive, and the alt season will react to it significantly. The potential here could be about 20x from its current value, specifically because this coin is sitting close to zero at the bottom. The potential here could specifically be about 20x from its current value. It's precisely because this coin is sitting close to zero at the bottom. But the risks, yes, are specifically related to coins that are at the bottom, which means they might not be needed by anyone. But I think MSCO will still do well. You see, it's being bought back from the bottom. It's not zero. It's not just lying around at the bottom. You shouldn't be looking at XRP. It's better to sleep peacefully knowing I bought Litecoin, Monero, or Dash, which look better technically and aren't at their highs. There's a unique pattern with Link at the bottom, a clear level, and a solid breakout with a retest. It's better to sleep peacefully knowing that I bought, for example, some Litecoin, Monero, or Dash, which look much better technically, and aren't at their highs. And by the way, there's a unique pattern with Link. Look, it's the bottom, a clear bottom level, and solid breakout with a retest. There was a descending wedge here from which we've just broken out. Yeah, just like with Litecoin, but the only downside is that it has shot up sharply recently, but not in terms of huge gains like 50%. Ideally, there should be some kind of consolidation, if not a correction. At least a consolidation, maybe a squeeze to the level, either just before or right after the breakout, something like that. Buy here, well, ideally there should be an alt season. It's still too early to buy, of course. Next, let's take a look. NEAR looks pretty good after the correction, and it hasn't shot up significantly. Well, to be precise, in percentage terms, if you take it from the bottom, it's more than a 50% increase. But this coin is just very volatile, incredibly volatile. This was a 70% drop, although from the chart's perspective, a 70% drop should look like this. It's just that the coin is super volatile, but it looks good. Here we have the nearest level. Maybe when it breaks out, you can keep an eye on it. Going up there. Waves, it was a good coin right here. I missed it, unfortunately. You could have also grabbed this dual season thing. You shouldn't be looking at this without some significant correction. It has already shot up there, like X2, although, of course, dual season, that's the kind of situation we'll have. But TWT looks really good from a technical standpoint. The only downside here is that it looks like it's forming lower highs, with a squeeze here, like some kind of descending triangle, but that's because there's nothing on the left side of the chart. It would be negative if there was, say, some kind of growth here. Actually, this is more like a double bottom, just not fully formed yet. And Altseason. Here's one of the coins that hasn't shot up high yet. It has potential. It's also volatile. You see how it can shoot up by 70% in just a few days, then drop back down. 40. But overall, if you're looking at the altcoin market, you need to understand that it's all quite volatile. Here we have resistance. Well, if this high at least gets updated and holds, and if a more or less normal trend starts here, not just these vertical movements like something at least like this, there should be some trading range here. For this trending one, yeah, it's good to keep an eye on it. Moving on to XVG, you can see the level clearly. We were above it, then we went below it, stayed under it for a while, and then came back up. I wouldn't recommend going further with DOT. The bottom was here, it shot up from the bottom, and I wouldn't recommend it anymore either. However, if the market corrects significantly somewhere around here, then you'll see roughly the level of a new bottom, and you could take it on a breakout. If it doesn't break through and updates the bottom, then redraw the level and take it on the breakout. So we have level 1 here, and if something like that happens, yeah, level 1, you can take it on the breakout. If there's no breakout, draw level 2, and you can take it on the breakout. So something like that. We're waiting for a pullback, and the bigger the better. And only after a breakout, you can take it on the pullback. Not right now. Next, Tezos isn't needed, it shot up vertically. IOTA also shot up vertically, it's not worth it. As for meme coins, I don't think I should recommend any of them at all, because they're really not worth your attention. However, well, you can theoretically take a look at TLM, it's currently right at the bottom. Yeah, even though it's not a meme coin, it's a low liquidity altcoin, and this slight increase of 70% is already significant. But still, there's potential during alt season, or even without it really, just based on the double bottom pattern here. And during alt season, it could go up to an all-time high, which is about 800% potential, even without alt season. But of course, this isn't advice, and don't take this video as any kind of advice at all. But something like that is definitely possible with TLM. If there are any other good low-cap coins, well, Hook just came up from the bottom, but it's also a low-cap coin, so be careful. I personally feel about the correction is the same as what I expressed my thoughts on. DOT. So that's it overall. Here are the coins I mentioned in this video. They look pretty good, either right now or in the near future. And for the alt season, why not consider them? And now let's move onto these tickers. Do you see ETH, BTC, ADA, BTC? What is this? These are the tickers of the coins against Bitcoin. And here's how Ethereum looks against Bitcoin. The rule is simple. During the alt season, if the chart changes its trend from downward to upward, buy it and aim for some all-time high. Ethereum versus Bitcoin could double. If Bitcoin stable, Ethereum up 2.5x versus dollar. If Bitcoin rises 50%, Ethereum up 3 to 4x. During alt season, Ethereum's position, obviously if Bitcoin stays where it is and this chart goes up, then Ethereum will roughly increase by 2.5 times against the dollar. If Bitcoin also grows by about 50% because it's not at its highs, then Ethereum could potentially go up 3 or 4 times. And during the alt season, as it works, I'm showing where Ethereum will be. Yeah, I missed it today because it's definitely not the best coin. Nevertheless, this is what the alt season looks like. It looks something like this. Well, it looks about like this. Here it is. Basically, when Ethereum was just starting out, was emerging. Well, actually not Ethereum, but Bybit. That was the year 2020, 2021. It was the alt season. Let me show you from a different chart from another exchange. Here it is, the alt season. Here it is. And potentially, here comes the alt season. It looks like a small increase, yeah, but that's $20,000. Just so you know, Ethereum is currently at 3,700. This is the alt season and this is what awaits us. So technically, you can also buy Ethereum, right? But pay attention to when, ideally, at the moment the trend changes. Here it is, the downward trend right now. And let's go through a few coins in order. I'll show you, oh yeah, it has already changed its trend and shot up. Bitcoin Cash, here it is. It looks just amazing. It's already showing life here, as I told you. It already has some rising lows here. It's at the bottom against Bitcoin. It looks just amazing. You see the trend is rounding off here. Bitcoin Cash looks just perfect. I don't like Binance Coin here. It seems like it just recently changed its trend and it looks like it will grow slower than Bitcoin Dash. It looks just amazing against Bitcoin. Take another look at it. Ether Classic, a bit of a stretch. Remember what I said before? Well, here I actually have some coins mixed in with various hype low caps, so I won't dwell on them too much, of course. If you look at some low caps, they often look like this. And yes, many of them can show themselves like this Litecoin. This is not a low cap, it's a top coin that looks good right now. And look at how it looks against Bitcoin. The trend is rounding off. It seems like it's about to break out. It didn't take off vertically. Just amazing. One of the best coins. Take another look at Litecoin. In general, look at all the coins. Interest you against Bitcoin like this, and find the moment when the trend breaks. Then it does this. This is still without the alt season. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the moment. I'll mention it. And in the link below, I'll remind you again, are my other social media. By the way, if you don't know how to trade on the exchange but want to learn, there's a free mini course on trading in the pinned message on Telegram. Subscribe to my Telegram channel and grab the free mini training. Good luck.